Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. I've lurked on this sub for years, reading stories about cheating, betrayal, and heartbreak. Always thinking, damn, I could never imagine that happening to me. Well, life decided to humble me. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 6 years. Together for almost 9. We met in college. Classic story. She was outgoing, full of energy, the kind of person who could light up a room. I was quieter, more grounded, the safe guy, as she liked to joke. We balanced each other. Or at least, that's what I thought. For the most part, things were good. We both worked full-time. I'm in IT, she's in marketing, and had what I'd call a comfortable life. Nice apartment, a dog we both adored, regular date nights. We weren't perfect, but who is? But about 3 months ago, I started noticing shifts. Subtle at first. She started going out with coworkers more often, dressing up more, wearing perfume she hadn't touched in years. When I'd ask who she was meeting, she'd roll her eyes and say, "God, why do you always have to ask? It's just work stuff." That tone, that defensive tone, it was new. She'd get home later and later, 10 p.m., sometimes midnight. Her phone, which used to be on the couch or counter, was now always face down. Notifications off. She even started taking it to the bathroom. I told myself not to overthink. I wanted to trust her. I did trust her. But there was this gnawing feeling in my gut that something was off. I brushed it aside for a while. Told myself I was being paranoid. That maybe she was stressed, or maybe I was just projecting because work had been a nightmare for me lately. But then one night, one very specific night, something happened that cracked the facade completely. It was a Thursday night, the kind of night where nothing special happens. I got home early from work because a client call got canceled. I figured I'd surprise her with dinner. I made her favorite, carbonara, and opened a bottle of wine we'd been saving since our anniversary. She texted me earlier saying she had to stay late for a presentation review. Totally normal, right? Except when I checked her location on Find My iPhone, something we both had shared for safety reasons. She wasn't at the office. She was at a bar. Not a restaurant. Not a client's office. A bar. At first, I thought maybe her team went out for drinks after work. Not uncommon. But something felt wrong. The name of the bar? The Copper Fox. I recognized it. We'd been there before. It's across town, not near her office, but near where her old college friends used to hang out. So, I decided to drive over. Not because I didn't trust her. Okay, maybe partly that. But mostly because I had a sinking feeling and I needed to see for myself. When I got there, I parked across the street. I sat in my car for a minute, just watching. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what I was expecting. Maybe her with co-workers laughing over drinks. Maybe I'd feel stupid and go home. But then I saw her. She was standing outside with him. Some guy, tall, dark hair, wearing a button-up like he thought he was in a cologne commercial. They were close. Too close. She had her hand on his arm, laughing in that flirty way she used to with me. Then she leaned in and kissed him. Not a quick kiss. Not a drunk peck. A full-on, slow, intimate kiss. I just sat there, frozen. My stomach dropped like I'd been punched. Every sound faded. The traffic, the chatter, everything. It was like watching a movie of my own life, but I wasn't in control anymore. I didn't confront her right then. I couldn't. I just drove home. I needed to think. To breathe. That night, she came home at 11:30, reeking of that same perfume and lies. I asked how her presentation went. She smiled and said, "Oh, it was stressful, but we wrapped it up fine. Just grabbed a drink after." I nodded, pretending to believe her. But inside, something broke. The next morning, I woke up before her, couldn't really sleep anyway. My brain just wouldn't stop replaying that scene outside the Copper Fox. Every detail, every movement, that kiss. I needed to be sure. I know how crazy that sounds, but I needed proof, something undeniable, something that would make it impossible for her to twist the story like she always did when she wanted to win an argument. So, while she was showering, I checked her phone. Yeah, I know it's not the proudest move, but I wasn't dealing with a normal situation anymore. She had a password now. She'd never had one before. That was red flag number 2567. I managed to get in because she'd used her birth year. Classic. Once I opened her messages, my hands were literally shaking. Most of her conversations were normal, but there was one contact that stood out. Melissa, work. Except Melissa's number had a +1 country code. We don't live in the US. I opened it, and sure enough, not Melissa. It was him, the guy from the bar. The messages were disgusting. Pet names, heart emojis, inside jokes, plans for our next weekend, and one line that made my heart physically hurt. Last night was perfect. You taste like home. My stomach turned. I had to sit down. Scrolling through, I found out it had been going on for months. Not just a one-time mistake, a whole thing. Trips, hotel receipts, photos. There was even a selfie of them together in a car, her head on his shoulder, my wife looking happier than she'd looked with me in a long time. I felt this mix of rage, grief, and nausea. It's weird. You think when you find out, you'll explode, break something, scream. But I didn't. I just sat there numb, like someone had unplugged me from my own body. When she came out of the shower, she saw me sitting on the bed with her phone in my hand. For a second, she froze, just enough for me to know she knew. "Who's Melissa?" I asked quietly. Her face went pale. Then she recovered fast, too fast, and said, "It's just a coworker. Why are you snooping through my phone?" That's seriously messed up. My name. I didn't even respond. I just held up the phone and showed her the messages. Her mouth opened, then closed. Then came the lies, the excuses, the gaslighting. I'll never forget her face when I held up that phone. For a split second, pure panic. Eyes wide, jaw slack. Then she switched gears like a pro. I'd seen that look before when she got caught in smaller lies, like, "I didn't spend that much on shoes," or, "I forgot to text you back." But this time, it was bigger, and she knew it. She tried to keep her voice steady. "It's not what you think, okay? He's just a friend. We went out a few times, but nothing happened." I just stared at her. No words. Just silence. She hated silence. It always made her crack. Sure enough, she started babbling. We were both drunk that night at the bar. I kissed him. Yeah, but it didn't mean anything. I was just stressed. "You've been so distant lately, and I needed someone to talk to." That one. That line right there. "You've been distant." Like somehow this was my fault. I cut her off. "Don't do that. Don't you dare turn this around on me." She started crying, or pretending to. I honestly couldn't tell anymore. Tears always worked before. She said she felt unappreciated, that she didn't know how to talk to me, that he made her feel alive again. Alive. I asked her how long it had been going on. She said a few weeks. I told her I'd seen messages from months ago. Her face changed again, from fake remorse to anger. "Wow, so you're spying on me now? That's so invasive. You've completely lost it." And just like that, I became the villain. It was surreal. She was caught red-handed, but she still found a way to make me feel like I'd done something wrong. She said I was controlling, obsessive, and that this privacy violation proved our marriage was toxic. Toxic. That word hit me like a slap. I told her she was lucky I wasn't throwing her out right then and there. She scoffed and said, "Maybe I should leave. Maybe that's what we both need." Then she grabbed her purse, slammed the door, and left. No apology. No explanation. Just left. I sat there for a while, just listening to the sound of her car pulling out of the driveway. Then, I finally broke. I cried. Really cried, for the first time in years. She didn't come home that night. Or the next. At first, I told myself maybe she needed space. Maybe we'd both cool off and talk like adults. But deep down, I knew where she was. I didn't even need to check. I could feel it. She was with him. Day 2 rolled around, and I texted her, "Are you safe?" No response. Then a few hours later, I got one line. "I need time to think." Time to think. Translation, "I'm staying with my affair partner until I figure out which one of you I want." I didn't reply. Instead, I started noticing the tiny absences. Her toothbrush gone, her favorite sweater missing, a pair of heels no longer by the door. She'd packed a bag when she stormed out. That meant she knew she wasn't coming back anytime soon. It was weird how quiet the apartment became. Even the dog seemed confused, pacing around looking for her. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I just kept replaying everything. Her laugh outside that bar, her lies, her face when I showed her the phone. On day 3, her sister called. She asked what happened because my wife had told her family I kicked her out. Apparently, I was emotionally abusive and controlling. That word again, controlling. I didn't even argue. What's the point? I just told her sister. Ask her to come get the rest of her stuff. By day 4, something inside me shifted. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't even angry. I was just empty. like someone had vacuumed out every emotion and left a shell behind. Then I got an email from her. Not even a call, not a text, an email. It said, "I'm sorry things ended like this. I didn't plan for any of this to happen. I need space to figure out who I am. Please respect that." No mention of love. No mention of regret. Just a neat, cold paragraph that read like a breakup text written by ChatGPT before empathy was invented. I didn't reply, but I did something else. I opened Find My iPhone again. Not because I wanted to torture myself, but because I wanted closure. And there she was, at an address I didn't recognize. I copied it, pasted it into Google Maps, and guess what popped up? A hotel. That little blue dot on the map, her name floating right above it, felt like a knife twisting in my chest. She wasn't just figuring things out. She was shacked up in a hotel with him. My wife of 6 years, spending nights in the same room she used to share with me, pretending it was some grand journey of self-discovery. I stared at the screen for maybe 10 minutes. Then something inside me snapped. I grabbed my keys and drove. It was almost midnight, and the roads were empty. Every red light felt like an eternity, my brain flipping between "don't do this, you'll regret it," and "no, you deserve to see it for yourself." When I got to the hotel, I parked across the street again, déjà vu. I sat there for a second, just breathing. My heart was pounding like I'd run a marathon. I walked in, acting calm, told the receptionist I was looking for my wife and that she might have checked in under her name. I don't know if the guy pitied me or just didn't care, but he said, "Room 214. I walked down the hall, and every step felt heavier. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. When I got to the door, I froze. I could hear faint laughter inside. Her laughter. That high-pitched, fake one she used when she was trying to impress someone. Then I heard his voice. I knocked once. Silence. Then whispers. Then the door opened a crack. She was there, wearing one of those oversized shirts she used to sleep in. Her hair was messy, her makeup gone, and she looked startled. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. I looked past her and saw him. The guy from the bar, sitting shirtless on the bed, holding his phone like a deer caught in headlights. I didn't yell, didn't punch, didn't make a scene. I just said, "So this is your space to think, huh?" She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I waited, but she had no words. No apology, just guilt written all over her face. Then she tried to regain control of the situation. "You can't just show up here. That's insane. You're embarrassing yourself." That one hit hard. Not because it was true, but because that was her instinct, to shame me for catching her. I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of broken, bitter laugh that comes from a place way past anger. "You're right. I am embarrassing myself. Forever believing you." Then I handed her wedding ring, which I'd taken off before driving there, and placed it on the small table by the door. "You can figure out who you are without this." And I walked out. Didn't look back. Driving home that night felt unreal, like I was floating outside my body, watching some other guy live my life. The city lights blurred through the windshield, and every song on the radio suddenly had lyrics about betrayal. I turned it off and drove in silence. When I got home, the apartment felt haunted. Her coffee mug was still on the counter. Her perfume still hung in the air. The bed looked wrong, too neat, too cold. Even the dog sat by the door, whining softly, waiting for her. I poured a drink, something strong, and sat on the couch staring at the wall. I didn't cry this time. I just felt this strange emptiness, like every ounce of emotion had already been burned out of me. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text. From her. "You had no right to come there. That was inappropriate." I just stared at the screen. That was her takeaway. Me showing up to the hotel she was cheating in was inappropriate. Not the months of lies. Not the gaslighting. Not the betrayal. I didn't respond. I turned off my phone. The next few days were a blur. I called in sick to work. Couldn't focus. Couldn't fake normal. My mom called asking if everything was okay because my wife had posted a cryptic story on Instagram. Sometimes love means letting go, red heart. Oh yeah, she was already playing the sad victim who's healing card. Then came the mutual friends, the awkward texts, the "we're so sorry, man," the "she's confused right now." A few even said, "She swears it didn't mean anything." Didn't mean anything. I hate that phrase. People only use it when they've done something that means everything. By day 5, I finally started cleaning. I packed her things into boxes. Every sweater, every picture frame, Every little trinket she ever guilt-tripped me into buying. I put it all in the spare room and shut the door. That's when it hit me. She wasn't coming back. Not because she couldn't, but because she didn't want to. And for the first time since all of this started, I realized maybe I didn't want her back either. About a week after the hotel incident, I got a message from one of her co-workers, a guy named Liam. We weren't close, but we'd talked a few times at company events. He texted, "Hey man, I don't know if this is my place, but you deserve to know the truth." Turns out, everyone at her office knew. She wasn't staying late for presentations. She was meeting him, a client she'd started seeing after a marketing conference months back. They'd been sneaking around, even taking work trips together. She'd lied about everything, from the deadlines to the company retreats to the random team-building weekends. And here's the kicker. She told her coworkers I was emotionally unstable and controlling, so if anyone saw us together, they shouldn't say anything, because it would trigger me. She built a safety net of lies around herself, a shield, so that if the truth ever came out, she could say I was the crazy one. I thanked Liam for the message and said, "You're right, I did deserve to know." He replied, "She's not who people think she is, man. I'm sorry." That hit hard. Later that night, she finally called me. First time in over a week. Her tone was soft, calculated, like she'd practiced it in front of a mirror. "I didn't want it to end like this," she said. "We were good together once. Maybe we just lost each other." I didn't say anything. She kept going. "He means nothing. You know that, right? It was just stupid. I made mistakes, but I didn't plan to hurt you." I almost laughed. Didn't plan to hurt me? She just did it anyway. Then she said something that honestly made me feel physically sick. "Can we talk in person? Maybe we can fix this. I don't want to throw away 6 years." I asked her one question. "Are you still seeing him?" Silence. Then, "It's complicated." That was it. That was all I needed to hear. "Then it's not complicated for me," I said, and hung up. That night, I drafted the divorce papers. I didn't send them yet. I just needed to see them exist. Proof that there was a way out. The next few days were quiet, almost too quiet. No calls, no texts, no drama. Just silence. I thought maybe she'd finally accepted it was over. I was wrong. Out of nowhere, she showed up at the apartment. No warning, just knocked like she still lived there. When I opened the door, she looked different, like she'd spent a week rehearsing how to seem calm and mature. Hair perfectly straightened, soft makeup, that fake, peaceful tone manipulators use when they're about to start gaslighting again. "I just wanted to talk," she said. "Please, can we not do this over the phone?" I didn't want to let her in, but I also didn't want to give her the satisfaction of seeing me flustered. So I opened the door and leaned against the counter while she stood there, hands clasped, pretending to be fragile. Then came the show. She started rewriting history right in front of me, classic revisionist cheating logic. "You have to understand, I was lonely, and you stopped trying. You were always busy. You didn't even notice me anymore." I told her, "I noticed you enough to see you kissing another man." Her expression didn't even flinch. She just sighed dramatically. "That was a mistake. You're acting like one kiss defines everything we had." I raised an eyebrow. "One kiss?" I saw the messages. The hotel. The months of lies. She crossed her arms. "You invaded my privacy. You violated my trust." That's when I laughed. Not out of humor, but pure disbelief. "Your trust? You destroyed mine." She didn't even blink. She had this coldness in her eyes that I hadn't noticed before. It was like she wasn't even sorry. She was just trying to spin the narrative so she wouldn't be the villain in her own story. Then she dropped this gem. "I don't think you're seeing how much pressure I was under. I needed someone who understood me emotionally." That was her justification, emotional understanding from the guy she was sneaking into hotels with. I told her she needed to leave. She said, "So that's it? You're really going to throw everything away over one mistake?" I said, "You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Over and over again." She stared at me for a second, waiting for me to fold, to soften like I always used to when she cried. But I didn't. So she grabbed her bag, turned to the door, and before leaving, said, "You'll regret this. You'll never find someone who loves you like I did." And for once, I smiled. I hope not. After that last confrontation, I thought things might finally go quiet. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that cheaters hate losing control of the story. 2 days later, I started getting messages from mutual friends. Apparently, she'd started telling everyone that I'd been emotionally abusive, jealous, and controlling. That I'd tracked her phone because I couldn't handle her independence. She was painting me as the villain in a movie she wrote, directed, and starred in. One of our closest friends, Sarah, called me and said, "Hey, I don't want to pick sides, but some of the stuff she's saying doesn't sound like you." I told Sarah the truth. About the bar, the messages, the hotel, everything. Sarah went quiet. Then she sighed and said, "I knew something was off. She's been flirting with that guy for months." Turns out, everyone saw it but me. They just assumed it was harmless. "She's just friendly," they said. "She's flirty with everyone," they said. Yeah, flirty enough to nuke a marriage. Within a week, the story started unraveling. The guy she cheated with? He was married too. His wife found out when someone forwarded her a photo of them together from social media. Apparently, my wife hadn't been too discreet. That's when everything exploded. The guy's wife reached out to me on Facebook. Her message was short and cold. "I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. Neither did I." We talked a bit, not in a bonding over pain way, more like two people identifying the wreckage left by the same tornado. She told me my wife had been calling her husband her soulmate. That word physically hurt to read. Then came the final blow. My wife messaged me again. "You had no right to talk to his wife. That was between us." Between us. Like cheating is a private hobby, not an explosion that wrecks 4 lives. I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because by that point, the truth was spreading faster than her lies could keep up. Mutual friends started unfollowing her. Her coworkers stopped defending her. And I had just watched, not with revenge in my heart, but with this cold sense of peace. Because finally, the mask was off. After the dust settled and the truth about her affair became public, life felt empty, but also strangely liberating. I took a week off work. Didn't leave the apartment much. I cleaned obsessively, not just the apartment, but my mind. Every reminder of her, every little trinket, every photo was either thrown away or packed into a box and put in storage. The apartment felt lighter after that, like I had finally exorcised some toxic energy. I started exercising again. Went for long runs in the mornings. The dog and I became inseparable. Honestly, he was more comforting than any friend or family member could be. I cooked meals for myself instead of letting sadness dictate instant takeout binges. I even went back to reading books I'd abandoned during the years of her busy schedule. I didn't feel happy yet, but I started feeling something close to normal again. I also realized that the people who mattered stuck around. Friends who truly cared reached out, offered support, and didn't take her side blindly. Their presence reminded me that I wasn't alone, and that this betrayal, as devastating as it was, didn't define me. And slowly, I began to reclaim my sense of self. I remembered who I was before her manipulation, before the lies, before the heartbreak. I remembered that I deserved respect, honesty, and someone who wouldn't ruin 6 years for a fling. The anger still came in waves, quick, sharp jolts of rage. But instead of letting it consume me, I used it as fuel to focus on myself, to grow, to rebuild. It was a messy process, but a necessary one. A few weeks into the recovery process, something clicked. I realized the biggest betrayal wasn't just the affair. It was the erosion of trust, the years of subtle manipulation, the way she had systematically made me doubt my instincts and question my worth. I had spent months noticing the red flags, feeling uneasy, and trying to rationalize her behavior. And she had exploited that. That hurt more than the kiss, the messages, or the hotel stay. I also realized that I had been clinging to the idea of us because of habit and comfort, not love. We weren't a team anymore, at least not in any meaningful way. She had made her choice, and for the first time, I truly understood that I couldn't force someone to love or respect me. This clarity brought a strange kind of peace. No more questioning myself. No more sleepless nights wondering if I overreacted. I had the evidence. I had the truth. And most importantly, I had the power to choose my next steps. I started journaling, not for anyone else, not for validation, just for myself. I wrote about the pain, the anger, the humiliation, but also the lessons. About boundaries, self-respect, and recognizing toxic behavior before it takes root. It was humbling. It was painful. But slowly, it felt like the weight of her lies was lifting piece by piece. After days of reflection, I finally made a decision. One that felt terrifying at first, but ultimately liberating. I wasn't going to beg, negotiate, or chase her. I wasn't going to try to fix a marriage that had been broken by repeated choices and lies. I consulted a lawyer and started the paperwork for separation, not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted closure. Because I deserved a future untainted by deception and manipulation. I also decided to cut her out of my social media, block her number, and create boundaries that would protect my mental health. It was hard at first. I felt like I was abandoning years of shared memories, of traditions, of what I thought was love. But the truth was, I wasn't abandoning us. I was reclaiming me. The decision was final, and for the first time in months, I felt control. Not over her. I couldn't control her, but over my own life. Over my own emotions, my own healing process. I didn't hate her. I felt anger, yes, and a deep sadness. But I didn't hate her. I just recognized that she was incapable of being the partner I needed. And that recognition was powerful. Life after the decision wasn't easy. Some days, the sadness hit like a freight train. Other days, I caught myself laughing at small things, feeling sparks of joy I hadn't realized I'd been missing. I leaned on friends and family more than ever. I traveled a little, just to get out of the apartment and clear my head. I picked up hobbies I'd neglected, cooking, running, even painting. Little by little, I started building a version of life that was mine, not hers. Therapy helped too. Talking through the betrayal, understanding my feelings, learning to trust myself again. It was all part of reconstructing my sense of self. I realized that the marriage wasn't just about her cheating. It was about losing myself in someone else's world. And now, I was finding my own again. Even the small victories mattered. A morning without anxiety, laughing at a dumb joke, finishing a book in one sitting. All of it was proof that I was healing. And with each passing week, the thought of her hurt less. I started dating again, slowly. Not for revenge, not to prove something, but because I wanted to share my life with someone who respected me, who valued honesty and loyalty. And that made all the difference. Looking back, this entire experience has been brutal, eye-opening, and life-changing. I learned that love isn't just about shared memories or comfort. It's about trust, respect, and honesty. When those are gone, no amount of excuses or apologies can rebuild what was lost. I also learned to trust my instincts. The subtle red flags, the gut feelings, the unease, they weren't paranoia. They were signals I should have paid attention to sooner. To anyone going through something similar, your feelings are valid. Don't let someone manipulate you into questioning your worth or your reality. Collect evidence, trust your gut, and surround yourself with people who see your truth. And most importantly, remember that leaving isn't failure. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. I'll admit, I thought I'd never feel whole again. But I do. Not because I've forgotten her or what happened. I haven't. But because I've learned to prioritize myself, my happiness, and my future. Life after betrayal isn't easy, but it is possible. And one day, you'll find yourself laughing again, loving again, and realizing that the world didn't end when someone chose to leave it. It just made room for something better.